So now we're going to talk a bit about the metro, and I'm gonna take you on a few stops on the newest line of the metro. As I already pointed out, the metro is originally defined by this line from Vandløse through the western part of Copenhagen to the center, and then dividing out into two stretches. One is leading towards the south to something called West Amager, the western part of Amager, and the other one is leading towards the east along the eastern coast of Amager, facing the sea, the ocean, out against Sweden on the other side. So the white lines, the M1 and the M2, are the first lines that was opened in 2002, and in 2007 this line was extended from around here to here in order to also allow easy access to the airport. And this is actually quite important, because the easy access to the airport is a fundamental, you could say, maneuver in order to make it as effective and accessible and easy to work with, and to get easily into the center of the city, and to get easily out from the center, from meetings, from all kinds of things going on, make it easy to come out of the city also. This extension leads towards the south to support a big urban development area in this area. We're coming back to that area in another lecture, so I won't say too much about it right now. And then this is about supporting the inner city as far as possible. And then in 2019, this line was opened, the Circle Line, which goes across the fingers and connects some of the fingers to each other. And that is the overall purpose of this, and it's also definitely to connect this part of the city to the center of the city, and on the long run also this part of the city to the center of the city. Why would you want to do that? You would want to do that because this area out here, Northern Harbor, is an area which is being developed very, very thoroughly to provide more housing and more offices and working facilities for all these 200,000 people that should move to Copenhagen until around 2030. So we, Copenhagen municipality, wants to kind of build a huge amount of housing out here, and they want to build a huge amount of housing here, and also down in this area there is going to be even more housing than there already is. Which is also the background for extending the metro lines out in this direction. And also over in this area, there has been a very much development for the last 10 years or so. And we're also going to get out in that area in one of the lectures, so that you can see what it's like to kind of build and design and develop new towns connected to the center of the town. So that's the background for providing you with this image of the S-train system. Again, in order to allow you to say that the metro that we see over here is connected to the overall train system and public transportation infrastructure. By this is the Circle Line, that line that you see there, and you can see that it also goes out in all these directions that is demonstrated on the metro line, and you also see that this is the center. The number one zone is the center, and then we have a system of different zones according to where you are in the surroundings of Copenhagen, and the metro servicing the inner city of the town is connected to the S-train serving the more remote circles of the town, and again connected to the regional trains that goes to the west and to the south and to the north, up and connects the rest of Zealand to Copenhagen. This is a little bit how the interaction is between the metro lines. The yellow and the green and the red and the blue line are connected to these other S-train and regional trains in that sense. And yes, that is me mirroring in the glass front of these two signs, which I found in one of the metro stations that I visited in order to take photos of them for your sake. This sign is outside every metro station for the moment, and this is also my explanation for you not seeing very many people in the metros for the time being, because we are actually encouraged not to use the metro, which is kind of ironic. But that's the case due to coronavirus right now, that we may have to follow the recommendation from the Danish authorities and show consideration to fellow passengers by keeping distance, by traveling with bus and train and metro outside the rush hours, and stay home if we are sick. So that sign is my explanation for showing you some pretty empty stations. That is not the case in a normal situation. Usually there are really many people using the metros, not least because they are both very convenient, they're very effective, and they are also very aesthetically pleasing, which I will show you some examples of right now from the newest part of the metro, the Ring line. We're going to start with Kongens Nytorv, which is in the middle of the city. And one thing that you can see here is that it has been a big topic and a big, you could say, contextual setup, that when you are in the metro station, you should actually be able to see where you are in the city by being able to look up and see that there is daylight coming in to the station, even though it might be 5, 4, 6, 8, 10 stories deep. So that has been a leading design parameter for the metro stations. And another one is the transparency, the translucency, the fact that you can actually orientate yourself very in a good way, and sense that there is daylight or night or whatever outside where you are right now. And Danish design, Nordic design has been a big, you could say, design motivator for the actual layout of the stations along the metro station, and this Kongens Nytorv is one of them. And here I am actually at the bottom. I'm down in the perron, in the platform, and looking up so that I can orientate myself towards the surroundings. Another thing is that when you are in the area where you would want to find a metro, you also have either pyramids or other kinds of skylight demonstrating where the metro is, and that's somewhere down there. You can actually go down and take some kind of commodity, some kind of commuting system to another part of the city. So also in that sense, the metros is trying to act as landmarks to tell people how you actually can get around in the city. Kongens Nytorv is at a point where the two lines connect, and the metros as such are Italian, and this is unusually empty, but it's just to give you an impression about the character of the metro. They are unmanned. They are driven from some kind of central service station, probably somewhere around here in the center of the railway system. And this is where another station where the two lines connect in Kongens Nytorv. And in this case, you can see that It is not as tall as the other one we saw, but also here has been like a very utmost importance to kind of allow people to orientate themselves towards the sky and to allow daylight to come down into the metro stations. We're moving from Kongens Nytorv to Gamle Strand, and Gamle Strand is another station. It is very, very close to Rådhuspladsen, and it has a different character to it, just to give you an impression. And then we get closer to the main railway station, and the reason why you change the color here is that the red color is the signature color for the Danish railway system. So whenever there is a station on the ring line that is connecting you to other lines that are going either by S train or regional train, then you always have the red as the kind of a signal color that this is where you want to get off if you would want to connect to another train system and get along in another direction. Sorry. So the red color is quite strong and very, you could say, spectacular. Maybe you would also want to notice here that this also shows that when you get up through the station, you actually get closer and closer to the sky. These stands here is where you use the Rejsekort, the travel card, and you use the card to enter the system, and you use it again when you leave the system. Sorry. We're moving along, and we're actually getting to another station, which is in Vesterbro. It's used to be a part of the city where there were many workers living, and in a sense, what they chose to do here is to take up the color of many of the houses in that neighborhood, and use the same color in the metro station, which is also quite spectacular. And again, note also here that daylight is provided from top of the station down to the bottom of the station, and serves not only one purpose in terms of lighting up the station, but it also gives you a kind of safe feeling, being able to be in contact with the surroundings, and it also reduces the use of electrical lighting. So in a sense, it's serving several purposes at one time. We are moving into the part of Copenhagen, which is not actually Copenhagen, because it is this municipality of Frederiksberg, which is placed in the middle of Copenhagen, with Copenhagen on all sides. And one interesting thing is that in this case they chose the green as the kind of the signal color, and green is actually connected to the fact that this is traditionally a neighborhood where people usually vote very conservatively, and green is the color of the mayor. I don't know what will happen when there is not like a conservative mayor any longer, but then it's like a signal of history that this has been like a conservative neighborhood, a conservative municipality for several years. And we're not stopping at every station, but I'm taking you to one of a few of them who has specific characteristics. And this is the next one. I already talked about the neighborhood where you had the red bricks as a very common color in the buildings on land. In this case, we are in a neighborhood where we have very many yellow buildings. So also here, there has been like a move to kind of get that feeling down into the metro stations, to allow people to orientate themselves about where they are in the city. and so that not all metro stations are alike, because if they are alike, it makes it more difficult to orientate yourself of where you are, and it could also kind of challenge your feeling of safety and security if you don't really recognize where you are in the city, even though you are below ground. I have not stopped at all these stations, but I'm stopping at this one out here. It is Østerport. Østerport again is a connection where you have the connection to other train lines, and therefore again you have the red stepping up in front as the signal color of this area. And from there we actually move out towards the northern harbor, the new urban development area, which is very busy now, and many things are going on out there being developed, both in terms of housing and offices and workspaces as such. Just another picture from Østerport before we take off, and actually move out into the northern harbor. And what happens here is that we go from below ground to above ground, and the thing is that in the future this line is to be extended out in this area by a light railway line, visible light railway line. So we are already at this point moving up above ground, and you will see that we have a pretty spectacular view of the harbor, the inner harbor. You have the windmills out here, you have a new international school over here, and you have old warehouses that are being converted into fancy designer stores and architecture offices. And it's becoming very popular to actually have your domiciles and your offices and your shops and whatever out in this area, and it will become even more popular now when you also have a metro line that is connecting this area to the rest of the city. So that was some dives down into some of the fancy metro stations that are brand new in the Copenhagen line circle, the circle line, this line here. And in some of the other lectures, I'm gonna take you by some of the other lines so that you can get an overall impression about the characteristics and the diversity of the metro lines, and the fact that much has been done to actually make it attractive and popular and safe and secure for people using the metro line. I may have forgotten to say that this is the last picture that is also from out there, and now we are going to have a break.